What is up, Mandalorians? Welcome to a brand new Mandalorian Season 2 video, and believe it or not, it feels so good to say that. I haven't made a Mandalorian video since really reviewing the first season, which I loved doing. I loved you guys chatting along with me for that. The same thing will be happening for Season 2, but today's video, we've got our first proper looks at the Mandalorian Season 2, and normally I wouldn't warrant this to be enough for a video, but Entertainment Weekly, who provided these photos and who I'll be going into in this article, I'll be linking it in the top pinned comment, gives us quite a few cool tidbit details. So on top of these images that you're probably seeing on screen right now, they're just amazing, and we'll get into those in just a little bit, but I really wanted to read out and just nerd out with you fellow Star Wars fans about all of these cool teasers. But let's get into some of the meat of this article, because I really wanted to just get this out the way so we can talk about it, break it down a little bit, kind of. Yeah, you get the point. This is where it really does get into it. Expect the Outer Rim to get a lot more crowded in Season 2. While Disney has not yet confirmed any new cast members or their characters, there's a rogues gallery of actors who seem optimized for a Comic-Con panel reportedly coming on board. So that's, obviously Rosario Dawson, who I can't wait to see. I know some people are apprehensive of the live-action Ahsoka, but come on. She's gonna nail it, I think. Tamara Morrison, who played Jango Fett in the prequels, playing presumably some version of a clone trooper or iconic bounty hunter Boba Fett. Katie Sackhoff, who they know is from Battlestar Galactica, obviously, lots of other things as well, but Battlestar Galactica is amazing as a live-action version of Bo-Katan. This is where they say some of them are true. Some I'm not sure, says Gina Carino, who plays mercenary Cara Dune on the show. She notes the heightened secrecy, including actors getting scripts only for their own episodes and being ushered to sets in black cloaks and hoods like incognito Sith Lords. So yeah, the secrecy on set, as you can imagine, is just insane, even amongst other actors and everything, just to protect all of the surprises we're going to get in Season 2. But this is where we really get into like the meat of the teasers. The new season is about introducing a larger story in the world. The show will expand beyond Mando-centric tales. The stories become less isolated, yet each episode has its own flavor, and hopefully we're bringing a lot more scope to the show. Everything gets bigger, the stakes get higher, but also the personal story between the child and the Mandalorian develops in a way I think people will enjoy, which is just, everything you really want to hear. They go on to say, and while the first season's episodes very strictly focus on Mando, Season 2 adds new storytelling angles. As we introduce other characters, there are opportunities to follow different storylines, Favreau says. The world was really captivated by Game of Thrones and how that evolved as characters followed different storylines. That's very appealing to me and as an audience member, and that's insanely interesting, because then I immediately just think, and I get what they're saying in terms of that storytelling, and obviously the Game of Thrones example was a very good one to lead with. Imagine the Mandalorian not mainly, obviously it's about the Mandalorian, that focus isn't going to go away, but incorporating the Game of Thrones formulaic approach to, for example, the Sorcerer episode. Let's say we see Ahsoka in that, we may be seeing and following scenes of her on top of other scenes with Mando, on top of scenes with, as you can imagine, Cara Dune, who I'm sure will be sharing scenes with Greef Karga, but also I expect to see in the Game of Thrones formulaic way, as they're mentioning here, maybe even Moff Gideon and his pursuit of the Mandalorian. And what Giancarlo Esposito has to say about what is scenes in Season 2, it's just, wow, he's teasing a lot. He really is. So maybe some people will be apprehensive of the slight change in the formulaic approach from Season 1's filming and the scenes that were following certain characters compared to now Season 2, but that is music to my ears personally. There's a lot going on in Season 2, lots of other storylines going on that will interlink ultimately. For example, Cara Dune, Greef Karga, what they've got going on, I'm sure they'll, as we see in these new photos, rendezvous with Mando. Same with seeing scenes, as I said, with Moff Gideon. We know they're going to interlink very much so with the child and Mando, so you get the idea. But let's continue on. As Mando and the child continue their quest, expect the bounty hunter to face a series of obstacles that will increasingly challenge his paternal loyalty to his ward. We start very directly after the first season, and he's going into very dangerous territory. He is very much a passenger to the experience in unexpected ways, not knowing what's to come, not knowing how much or how best to protect the child. We don't know how far he will go to do that, and they're finding new ways to push the envelope. And yeah, I completely agree with what he's saying. Obviously, obviously. He knows what he's talking about, but Mando is very kind of removed from, like, maybe, I guess, the furthest thing away from looking after a child, and we saw him adjust to that relationship in season 1, initially wanting to get rid of the child, and then becoming protective of it, but then in season 2, with a lot more of a threat on the child from Moff Gideon, the splintered kind of Empire groups, it's going to be pushing him into these situations where he's going to have to go even further, and I think, yeah, what he said there really personifies, well, what I was even envisioning for the characters moving forward in season 2. Pascal points out that the Mando's motivations are largely obscured as well. On a moment-to-moment basis, he's discovering that question, what do you want? The Game of Thrones veteran says. That isn't clear to him or to me, adds Filoni. We think we know how the characters are going to react, and it can be surprising how they do react. Mando and the child are pursued by Gideon, who will serve as a source of temptation, in the classic tradition of Star Wars villains, trying to lure heroes down darker paths. Now, this is insane. I'll be going toe-to-toe with Mando, says Esposito, who was nominated blah 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 blah. It's an iconic battle. I want to disarm him mentally as well. Who knows? Maybe there's an opportunity to get him to fight some battles for me. You may think I'm a villain, but I'm trying to harness some energy and some powers for a path that could be best for all. That is very interesting. You'll get to see him be somewhat diplomatic and more of a manipulator. That is seriously interesting. I think we all knew this from just comments made, even from season 1, that Moff Gideon, even as kind of intimidating and villainous as he appeared, there is a lot more to him, a lot deeper layers, and he really, in such few words, gave us so much more there than what I think we bargained for in terms of seeing details for Mandalorian Season 2. So I think with the fact that he even teased that Moff Gideon's gonna try and get Mando to try and do stuff for him, fight some battles for him, what is going on with that? I can't imagine a point where Mando would, like, have the child with him, for example, and then be like, yeah, sure, I'll do a mission. It's probably going to be more like, I'm not saying this is going to be the case, but let's say Moff Gideon does get the child, for example, and the way for the Mando to get him back, or to just, you know, ensure that the child is safe, which would be manipulative, obviously, he has to fight some battle. That's the only situation of where I can imagine Mando would willingly work for this Imperial scum, so to speak. I could be wrong about that, but it's probably somewhere down that vein, and it goes even further. And as for the Darksaber, in the new episodes, Gideon demonstrates he's quite adept at wielding it. It's so exciting for me to be in a show where I can wear a cape and own it, and where I can have a lightsaber and really own it. Apparently, he's going to be commanding a larger vehicle, hint hint, and spend some one-on-one time with the child. One-on-one time. I mean, that was kind of inevitable. It was obviously going to get to a point where Baby Yoda and the Mandalorian would come face-to-face with Moff Gideon. Now, face-to-face, that could be with the Mandalorian in the background, and Baby Yoda could be doing one of his things where he's saving the Mandalorian from receiving a Darksaber to the helmet. That's possible, face-to-face hints, but this sounds like an interrogation-esque scene. Like I'm not saying he's going to actually interrogate Baby Yoda, but, you know, maybe in some kind of Imperial place, and one of these photos look like that. Maybe, yeah, Baby Yoda gets captured halfway throughout the season, then we have Greef Karga, Cara Dune, and Mando, as seen in this picture, for example, going to save him. But in these other scenes, in this Game of Thrones formulaic way of changing things up in Season 2, we would get some scenes featured of the child with Moff Gideon, which is just, man, as I said, you could go down a billion different rabbit holes of speculation there, but no matter what conclusions you come to or speculation you come to, there's limitless possibility, and all of it intrigues me. Now, there are a few other tidbits like Greef Karga trying to strive to be a bit more legitimate, and also just other things that Pedro Pascal goes into, like, you know, conveying emotion through the helmet, and that, like, definitely check out the article for yourself. But yeah, that was very, very interesting. These photos as well are awesome. Seeing Cara Dune, the first kind of still of her in Season 2. It also just seeing these photos of the Mandalorian with Baby Yoda at almost every point. Beforehand in Season 1, sure, he was with him a lot, whether that was in his little freaking orb kind of cradle thing, but also he dropped him off, for example, when he was being taken care of at Mos Eisley Spaceport. But now there's a little pouch on this swoop bike, and it seems that he could be revisiting Tatooine there. So other photos of the magazine covers of Baby Yoda by the Mandalorian's side. It honestly all looks fantastic. I just love the emblem, the clan kind of emblem there on his arm. armor, just seeing that freshly and new footage is just absolutely incredible. But also, yeah, just that scene, that background looks like some kind of Empire or Imperial like base. I know that may sound like reaching just based on subtle background, but you see those little like strip lights there, it just gives me that vibe. And this could very well be the crew, if you will, trying to get back Baby Yoda, and just going off the teasers of one-on-one time from Moff Gideon to Baby Yoda. I think that says a lot, and on top of the Darksaber stuff. So let me know what you guys think of this, what you're hoping to see from the trailer. Obviously, I'm expecting Ahsoka stuff, Darksaber stuff, Baby Yoda power stuff. We'll get into that when the trailer drops. So like this video if you did enjoy it. Subscribe for more Mandalorian Star Wars videos just like this. I will be covering this show with tangible stuff coming out more and more as time goes by. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day, and may the Force be with you always.